Welcome back to Sema4.ai Studio. Today we're building a powerful data agent that works and acts on your Snowflake data. This agent will leverage Cortex Analyst to give us insights without us writing a single line of SQL. We'll then give our agent the ability to act on those insights with actions. While we're building a sample data agent for a call center, the underlying principle is universal. You can build an agent for any use case that needs to go beyond simple analysis and perform actual work based on the results. Let's dive in and build an agent that doesn't just provide answers but also takes action. First, we need to create a semantic model in Snowflake. Think of this as a blueprint for our data. Cortex Analyst uses this model to understand our tables, columns, and relationships, so it can answer natural language questions. For this tutorial, we have a sample database that contains call center data. To create the model, go to your Snowflake account, navigate to the Cortex Analyst section, and select Create New Semantic Model. Choose a location to store your model, which is a Snowflake stage. You'll then give your model a name and a description to provide context for your agent. Next, select the tables you need from your database. In our case, we'll choose the calls table. After that, on the Select Columns screen, you can choose all the columns required to answer your business questions. Next, you can choose to connect to the Cortex search service. It gives the ability to understand and match on meaning, not just exact keywords. This means that if a user asks a question using a synonym or a slightly different phrase, your agent will still be able to find the right data. It's a key feature for preventing errors and ensuring your agent's answers are as accurate as possible. Click Create and Save to proceed and generate your semantic model. Your semantic model is created with automatically generated descriptions. Now, it's a best practice to refine them to give our agent more human-like context. For instance, we can edit the description for Agent ID. This gives a better understanding of the real-world context of this data. Once you're done, simply save the file to finalize your semantic model. Now, let's switch over to Sema4 Studio to create our agent. Give your agent a descriptive name and a brief description. Next, click the Create Runbook button to write the natural language instructions that define our agent's behavior. For now, we'll write the objective to get started, and we'll come back to add the specific steps later in the tutorial. Once you've entered the objective, save and close the runbook. Sema4 Studio offers a choice of several enterprise-grade large language models. For this tutorial, we will use Snowflake Cortex AI as our reasoning engine. Finally, we get to the Actions section. This is where we give our agent the tools it needs to interact with our applications and data. We'll add our first action package here, the Cortex Analyst. This package comes with two key actions: Ask Cortex Analyst and Execute Snowflake Query. We'll also add the Google Docs action package, which enables our agent to save summaries of its findings. Once you add the actions, you'll need to configure them. The most important input for our Cortex Analyst action is the path to the semantic model we just created. To get the file path, go back to your Snowflake account, navigate to the stage where you stored your semantic model, and copy the path. You'll also need to provide the names of your database, schema, and warehouse so the agent knows where to run the queries. For the Google Docs action, the authentication is via OAuth. You will need to configure this the first time you interact with the agent. With our actions configured, it's time to return to the runbook and define our agent's complete workflow. We'll begin by directing the agent to wait for a question from the user. Next, the agent will leverage its Ask Cortex Analyst action to translate our natural language question into a precise SQL query. Once the SQL is ready, the agent will take the next logical step: executing that query on our Snowflake data using the execute Snowflake query action. This is where it retrieves the raw results. With the data in hand, our agent will present the findings clearly in a well-structured, tabular format directly to the user. Finally, we'll add a conditional step. The agent will ask the user a follow-up question. Would you like to store this summary in a new Google Doc? This gives the user control and allows the agent to take the appropriate next action based on their response. After your edits, save and close the runbook. Your agent is now ready to be created with actions configured, runbook prepared, and LLM selected. Click Create and your first data agent should be ready within moments. Before we can interact with our agent, there's one important step. Since our agent needs to connect to your Google account to save summaries and docs, you'll see a permissions panel requesting your approval. This essential step ensures the agent can securely access and interact with Google Docs on your behalf. To proceed, click Connect and follow the authentication prompts. Once authentication is complete, the permissions will be established, and you can begin interacting with your agent. Let's begin by asking a simple question. As soon as we ask the question, you can see our agent start to think. It recognizes that it needs to access our Snowflake data. It then decides to use the Ask Cortex Analyst action to translate our natural language question into a precise SQL query. Once the query is generated, you can see the agent call the Execute Snowflake query action to run it and get the result. And there we have it. The agent has successfully processed our request and presents the final answer. Now, let's try a more complex question. And just like before, the agent gets to work. It knows it needs to connect to our Snowflake data, so it generates and executes the query in the background, and this time it provides us with a beautifully formatted table of all the issue types and agent ratings. But the agent isn't finished. Based on the runbook we wrote, the agent asks us if we'd like to store the summary. When we respond yes, the agent immediately takes action, creating the new document and storing the summary in Google Doc. We've successfully built an end-to-end agent that can analyze Snowflake data, generate insights, and automate business processes across different applications, all with natural language. As a bonus, we can enhance our agent even further by adding email functionality. Let's integrate the Gmail action to send summaries directly to our team. First, we'll click Edit Agent and add the new Google Mail action to our agent. Next, we'll update our runbook to include an additional step that enables the agent to send summaries via email. After applying these changes to your agent, you'll need to authenticate your Google account again since we've added a new action package. Now our updated agent is ready for action. When we ask the agent to send the summary, you can observe it respond immediately, composing and dispatching the email. In just a few minutes, we have created a fully functional data agent that doesn't just analyze your Snowflake data, but actively works with it. This call center agent is just one example of what's possible. The same approach can power financial reporting agents, marketing automation, operational monitoring, or any workflow where you need agents that perform actual work based on their findings. The possibilities are endless. What would you like to learn to build next?